everywhere. GBS.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Insight tonight. My name is Eugene Ochieng and you're watching GBS TV. Of course, we are having a conversation tonight, deliberate indeed, meant for you. Today, we are honored to have with us Dr. Vincent Makokha, the Director of Chaplaincy, Counseling Psychosocial Support at the Kenya Police Service. Our conversation promises a profound exploration into the vital role of the Chaplaincy Counseling Department and the broader landscape of policing in Kenya. Our discussion extends to international engagement, specifically addressing recent legal challenges affecting directly the recent deployment of police officer at Haiti. Tackling a critical issue, we will delve into the pervasive problem of police abuse of power in Kenya. Dr. Makokha will share his vision on addressing the systemic problem within the police force and concrete measures that can be implemented to ensure accountability and safeguard the rights of citizens. Our penultimate segment navigates through the reforms in Kenya National Police Service. Dr. Makokha will share his perspective on how these reforms have impacted the efficiency of the force and the persistent challenges. We aim to unravel the core mission and significance of the Chaplaincy Counseling Psychosocial Support Department within the Kenya Police Service. We'll venture into the future of policing in Kenya, of course, and we have much more for you. This conversation is very critical, deliberate for you, even at the height of conversations about the police service. Sometimes we've had a lot of issues between the hoi polloi, the common man, and sometimes the men in uniform. Of course, we will get to understand that, and of course through your guidance. But thank you so much and welcome so much to this conversation at the Insight.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, 2144 is our SMS line. You can continue and follow us through to this conversation, even as we begin this conversation on GBS TV Africa at Quach Official, everyone on our social media platforms. Welcome once again, sir.
Thank you.
We begin this conversation right away. Before anything, when we talk about reforms, because we're talking about police reforms, but before I talk about what you do, let me just ask you a very simple question. The president had made up a team, and of course that was chaired up, a task force, that was chaired by Chief Justice Emeritus Maraga.
Yeah.
The task force gave the report.
Yeah.
The president promised to implement the report as it was. To those who are watching, what was critical in the report, and how far are we in the implementation of the report?
The most critical bit was the police welfare, and it has been worked on. We have started working on. Actually, even before the recommendation, it had already started. We had already started working on it informally. But then formally we have, based on the report, on the information that was given officially, we have started about police welfare, how officers should live, the decency of the service, how we should relate to the public. Of course, the issue of payment, you saw it, it was pronounced clearly about the increment starting this year, July onwards. And that's good news, and because it has never, we have had quite a long time without having this kind of news. So I can say that basically the welfare of the police officer is going to be catered for very well in this.
Thank you so much for that insight. Well, now we delve deeply into now what you do.
Yes.
Let's just begin from this. You're the Director of Chaplaincy at the Kenya Police Service. Getting it right? The Chaplaincy Counseling Social Support Department.
Yes.
I want us to talk about this specific department because it's generally about promoting the well-being of now the Kenyans in the police service. But now tell us its role and the core mission in the well-being of these officers generally.
Yeah, the core mission of the chaplaincy and counseling directorate is basically to look into the mental, social, and psychological well-being of the officer. That means we have to look at the officer wholesomely, the spiritual bit of him, the mental bit, and then of course the social part. In the social area, we talk about how the officer lives with the other people, with his fellow officers, with the other people, with the family members, and then look at the spiritual, how does the officer relate to the maker, and how does he respond to issues when as related to when something happens, how do you respond to it in relation to what the maker says about it. And then, of course, the mental bit, of course, that's the engine, the thinking part, the actions of the mind, the way the mind, organizes itself in order for actions to be taken. And so we ensure that mentally this officer is right, is doing the right thing, spiritually has the right relationship with the maker, and then socially the best relationship with the members of public, members of their families, and even members within the service. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. I'd wish to know, when we talk about the chaplaincy department as a department, because we also have other units in the police and other departments which are very critical. So generally, how do you work with these departments to ensure a holistic well-being for the mental, emotional, as I say, and psychological well-being of the police officers? How do you work together? How do you collaborate with these other units?
Yes, we collaborate with the other units. Like today, I was at GSU. I was with the GSU. They were doing sports today, and I was able to talk to them about the mental health, matters in mental health, psychosocial support, how to relate with one another, how to make decisions and act, how to do the right thing, and why we should be doing the right thing as a service, given that we have been entrusted with the responsibility of taking care of the security and safety of the public. So I was there, so meaning that GSU have been able to really adapt to the fact that they really need to be supported psychologically and even spiritually. And then other departments like the operations departments, the planning department, the personnel department, where we have deployments, we have promotions, we have where employment is done, actually where people are absorbed into the service. We have those departments where common issues come up, which can affect the department or members of the public, but we get there to simply help the officers to understand how, when things that have too much pressure on them, when they come up, how they should handle the whole thing. So that's basically how we have been able to work together with these other departments. And I find myself in a position that I can say we are doing quite well, because they have been looking for us almost all the time whenever there is an issue that needs to be addressed and attended to.
Okay.
Yeah.
We have maybe, do you have cases in point for these collaborations where they have worked maybe on officers? Because for quite a long time, I know you watch this, even as a police officer, we have had cases and times without number, actually, where we have had cases of police officers killing each other. Sometimes we have police officers living together, killing a wife or whatever. We've had several cases. Some of them actually even police officers killing a commoner. So this has been a very critical issue actually that has caused, some of them is because some of these police officers are not quite well mentally.
Okay.
And the question is, first of all, when was this department formed? And do we have cases, positive cases, where we have had a lot of impact that maybe we can say that this is the impact that has been made so far?
At the moment, the number of officers killing one another, killing members of the family, the number has gone down. as compared to the previous days when before the department was formed. Actually, this department was formed in 2020, August 2020. And when it was formed, it is a bit difficult. I am the pathfinder of the department. So I had to sit down and think about how do we make this department work? How do we have officers who are experts or professionals in the department? So I had to request my boss to allow me to ask for applications for officers who qualify to be chaplains, to be psychologists, to be counselors, and to be imams. And we did all those processes, although we did not have enough of them. But the few that we put together, we then developed structures for the department so that we work through, for us as police, of course, we have to work through structures. And for any management, structures are very important. So I had to put in structures together to ensure that we don't struggle when we are relating or when we are reporting on issues. And then I organize for training. When you get a new thing in a department, anywhere in the world, when you get any new thing, you have to look at, I usually look at what one of the writers that I like reading, my favorite books for John Maxwell, where he said, everything rises and falls on leadership. We had to train the strategic commanders, train them, give them basic training so as for them to have a buy-in factor, to accept the department, to accept what the department is coming to do. So we did training from the IG, then the IG, Mr. Mutiambai was there, then Mr. Mbugwa, Mr. Gabo are coming down. All of us went through training, strategic commanders, and then we went to other middle-level commanders, and we are still training. Why we did that is for them to know the importance of the department and to know the importance of these officers who are coming on board and who have never been there officially to work in the department. So basically that is how we organized, and we started in a very small way. Now we are doing well. We are doing quite well.
Okay. You talked about structures that have been formed continuously that will actually facilitate this department to enhance and work even better. What are these structures, and over time, how have they been accepted even by other police officers?
Yeah, in the first place, when we talk about structures, it's basically a management system where we have a reporting system. For example, I'm the director, and I'm doing the general, I'm providing the general coordination. But under me, we have, of course, the chaplaincy, and then we have the counselors. So the chaplains have three departments. We have the Protestants, we have Catholics, and we have Muslims who are imams. They need experts in those areas who can be able to provide the required spiritual direction. So under that, we have, of course, the one in charge of Protestant chaplaincy. We have the one who is in charge of the Catholic chaplaincy, and the one who is in charge of the Muslim chaplaincy. And then now we have the counselor, the one who is in charge of all the counselors or psychologists. So all those are working under me. But they report to me as the director. But under them, we have those who are working at the regional level. We have those who are working at the county level, those who are working at the sub-county level, up to the station level. So those are basically the structures. Now, when it comes to reporting, those at the station level report to the sub-county report to the county, and the county report to the region. Of course, the regional chaplains and councillors report to the headquarters. When they report, we sit down at the headquarters and look at the report, the recommendations, and then we forward to the boss and ask him some of the areas that they want us to improve or to work on, or if there is a gap, we talk to him, and then he is able to help us to come in and see how we can work on the gaps that have been raised by the other councillors. Yeah.
Thank you. You know that for every work done, there must be KPIs, or rather what shows that maybe work is being done.
Yes.
It could be maybe some positive impact or success stories that we may be having.
Yeah.
So maybe are there any success stories that we have currently of people maybe that were struggling with some mental issues, that currently you can say that over 5,000 police officers were struggling, but now things are quite better. What are even the KPIs? How would we know that this department is quite helpful?
Yeah. I can tell you that we have had a lot of officers who have been taken for treatment in different treatment facilities. And these officers have really improved. They have healed, they have gone back to work, they are working very well. Previously, before that time, some of them were not even armed because we feared if you arm them, they could go about shooting and causing a lot of trouble. So, quite, I can say, the level of treatment has gone very high at the moment. We can say we have treated to a tune of 10,000 officers, and they have been treated in the treatment facilities, gone through rehabilitation, healed very well, and back to work and working very well without any problem. So basically, I can give a rough estimate of around 10,000. Yeah.
Okay.
And we have seen the improvement in terms of how they are reporting back to work, how they are behaving, because we get daily reports on who has reported, who has not reported, because we make a follow-up. Yeah.
So you guys are continuously recruiting even more counselors in the police service, or how do you get counselors, or get your counselors from outside?
We basically, in the beginning, we had counselors who had already trained, but not deployed as counselors. They were working, doing their general duties. So they were qualified counselors who were working already. And when we started, we started with them. And then after a short while, the government employed a few civilians, of course, through the commission, who have started helping. And then, of course, the government again employed police officers who went for training at Kiganjo. They graduated and they came to support us. Now, the numbers were not very high because, of course, when you employ around 5,000 general duty officers, amongst them you could have around 20 councillors. And 20, we can say, it's almost like saying a drop in the ocean, but they are very helpful. And so I can say that we are employing, but not at a very high rate, because we don't have to concentrate on one department. There has to be a balance.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I want us to address something. We will talk about chaplaincy, the department for, we will talk about it. But now I want us to also talk about something that also involves other Kenyans.
Yes.
That for quite a long time, the police have had, there has always been a conflict between the police and the commoners. It is always evident. Mostly even after elections, when you see the conflicts. And sometimes we have seen when now politicians are even using the police against the commoners. It has been said. There's so many other issues like bribery, even corruption. These are some of the very, very critical issues that are affecting and touching on the police and even the commoners who they are serving. What do you make of all this?
I want to say in the first place that the issue of police and the public having problems, I can say it's an all-the-time thing. It is something that is a culture, kind of cultural, where the police were initially trained by the colonialists to deal with the Africans because of the way they wanted to colonize. Now, from that moment, what was inbuilt in the African man, basically not just Kenya, across Africa, and even across the world when you look around, the police has never been so friendly to the public. Very few countries is where you will find police having very good relationship. Basically, in the first place, police are law enforcement officers. And wherever you are a law enforcement officer, you have so many law breakers. And when you have law breakers, many law breakers, just remember that these are the people that you have to deal with. And the way to deal with them is to show them that here you have broken the law and we have to deal with you in this manner. Now, that way alone, you build a bad name for yourself as a police officer. because you cannot be a nice person to let go the lawbreakers and say it is a good thing. But again, on the other side, it is just what the public believe that the police is bad. Because we did a survey in somewhere in Busia, and at this survey, the officers, we were asking members of public, how is the police? Do you like police? Then they told us, no, we don't like the police. What is wrong? Have they ever beaten you? Some of them said, we have never even met some of them. We have never had a problem with the police. But why do you hate them? Then they said, we just hate them. You get? So you don't blame the public. You blame the culture, how they have been trained. And even today, when you meet a member of public and maybe a child is crying, they will tell them, I'll call the police. Look at that. Just building an enmity between the police and that small child, you have already built a very bad picture about the police. Just like saying a lion is coming or a bad dog is coming. Basically, I'll fear because I know a lion is a killer, is a man-eater. Yeah? So that's one. Secondly, when we talk about corruption, corruption is not just for the police. That's the first thing we have to know. That police have been blamed to be too corrupt when they are not that too corrupt as people say. For me, I would say it is the culture, it is the hatred. Yeah? If you do a good research, and I'm a researcher myself, authoritatively, I can say that, that if we go with you in research and find out which department is more corrupt, you'll find the police not getting number one. Why it is placed number one? Number one is because of attitude and how the researcher looks at the police. But you bring a very objective researcher, the police may not be the most corrupt. However, we are not saying that they are not corrupt. We are saying, what we are saying is somehow you find a few of them doing very bad things in terms of just picking the 50 shillings on the road, 100 shillings. That looks too ugly. And then it's branded to be the worst because it's in public and you are picking very little. Yeah. Now, when you compare with somebody who has taken too much in secret, you realize that even this police that we are talking about, it is only branded to be bad because it is publicly seen. But if it is really the issue of counting who has taken much, then the police may not be number one. So corruption with the police, I can't say they are very good, we are number one, we are angels from heaven. No, but I can say we have really tried our best to restrain officers from being corrupt. And we have even put structures in place that stop them from corrupting around. Because if really police decided to corrupt, nothing will move around in this country. Because almost everything goes through the hands of the police. So basically I can say that police, yes, we find a few elements of corruption here and there, which we deal with, and we are happy that many of them are reducing. And so we want to say that at the end of the day, we may not be the cleanest, but we will try to be clean. Mm-hmm. About members of, politicians using police to harass the public, that is something that we can discuss beyond here. Is because I can say that some politicians, yes, can take advantage of their positions to misuse police. But police has an independent command. They are never commanded by a separate or an auxiliary command that comes from some other corner. Our command is straight from the Inspector General down to the grassroots. So basically, if there is any politician who interferes, who tries to use police to harass the public, then that is the man we can call a corrupt person. That's the person we can deal with because we wouldn't want any police officer to involve himself in that. And we have discouraged that. We have always said that if there is a problem, let the police officer raise the problem to the necessary command, and so we can be able to assist. And we have always told the police officers to restrain themselves from being used by any member of public negatively. If a member of public comes to you for help, please help. If a politician comes for help, please help. Because we are here to help to serve the public. but we are not here to be partisan. We don't play partisan. We are not partisan servants. We basically serving the public, serving the government, and ultimately serving God. Yeah.
Thank you so much for clarifying on that.
Yeah.
But still, we may have like a lot of questions. For example, when you say that we have like, you talk about it is something that is cultured. Yes, it may be a culture that people hate the police. But of course, there's some reasons. When you talk about maybe corruption, or rather maybe the politicians using or misusing rather the police, you talk about structures. My question will be, which specific structures are there? For example, we have consistently seen some scenarios whereby even after every elections, we have seen that during maybe maandamano, or rather, let's say that during times where we have a confrontation between a politician who supports the government and that who does not support the government, the police has always been a case in point during the time of Governor Simbarati and of course MP Silvano Sosoro. The police was mentioned, and the police name has been mentioned severally. If you take your time, Google where the cases where police have been mentioned, even some in extrajudicial killings. Which structures have consistently been put to ensure that this do not happen again, or even if it does not, like even if it continues, but we are continuously tackling and curbing this menace?
We have structures that handle issues of complaint against police officers. We have IPOA. If there is any serious complaint somebody wants to raise about a police officer, you can visit IPOA offices. They are all over the country. You can visit IAU, Internal Affairs Unit. Then we have our internal mechanisms, the quality assurance or complaints department within the police service, where you can go and report if there is a problem. You just go report and say this has happened and we would like it to be addressed. And so many of them have been addressed, honestly speaking. And then when it comes to confrontations of politicians and then police are mentioned, those are scapegoats. You know, certain politicians just feels he has nothing to say, so he has to mention police. Because the truth is, when you have become a rogue person, you are breaking the law. How do we stand and look at you when, for example, when you are demonstrating? Demonstrations are allowed, but do you break people's property? Do you destroy people's businesses? Do you go around vandalizing properties and, causing chaos? Demonstrations are demonstrations, and that's allowed. So when you go to that extent, that's when you'll call us bad people, because we have to protect people's property. That's our basic mandate, is a responsibility we have been given. Public safety, protection of life and property. So when we do that, that's when another politician will say, police have been used. Now, when we try to stop you and you insist on doing it, then we arrest you. When we arrest you and you start beating us, then we use minimum force to ensure that we have arrested and ensured that you are ready in court the next day or, a few hours. Then that happens. But when you do that, basically people will say you are misusing police. There is no misuse of police. It is basically what we are doing as our work. But if you demonstrate properly, sometimes we have even given people escort, some security. They are demonstrating in the streets, too, and we have given them a rider, is guiding them, and some security around them. That way, we have not had a problem. But when there is an issue, when somebody comes up and starts fighting and breaking property and calling people names and, killing other people, beating other people, then you expect the police to look like, we cannot arrest, we can't do this, we have to work. We have to work. And basically when we work, we are on the wrong side because we are just protecting the enemy of that other person. But however bad somebody is, just let your rights end where his rights begin. That's basically what can help. Yeah, so we are doing our work. We are always busy doing our work. Yeah, when you call upon us, we come, we assist, and we do what is right.
Thank you so much. As we go to a short break,
Yeah.
take a quick short break before we come
Yes,
back.
yes.
There's some question that I wouldn't want us to miss out. And you talked about law enforcement, that
Yes.
sometimes the police are actually enforcing the law.
Yes.
But again, we ask a very critical question, that how now can we balance now law enforcement and because we want to avoid this culture of police are bad. We want to embrace the police as part of us. Yeah, but of course the police has to do their work. They cannot become friendly at all times.
Yeah.
But now how do we give it a balance so that you do your work, but again we do not be the police is not tagged as bad because of maybe some 2 or 3 things that they may do, which may not necessarily make them as good.
We are moving towards that. Because many people have failed to do the right thing. We as police, what we are doing now, we are now teaching the public on how to behave themselves, how to conduct themselves when they want to do demonstrations. Actually, we are sensitizing them on how we should relate. If there is any problem, report to us. This is how we are going to handle it. If you missed here, go here. If you don't have this, we are actually telling them how they should behave within the law. That is now what is helping us to have a good relationship with them. Basically, because when they are well informed, they will know that surely even yesterday I did something wrong. Today I want to improve. I want to be a better person. So as police, we are doing that, and through community policing, of course, and through many other forums, like now the chaplaincy and directorate is doing community policing indirectly, because we go out there, even in churches, and we share the word of God, and we talk to the public. We tell them how important it is for them to obey the law. And we go out there, sometimes we counsel people, civilians who don't expect police to be counselors, and we provide very good counseling services, and they feel so good about it. And so that way we are absorbing them, we are making them and us to be one people. I like quoting the cooperative bank slogan that we are you. And even in the community policing, we were saying that the public is us and is the police, and the police is the public. Or the public is us and we are the public. Meaning that we should not have a very big boundary between us and the public. Because crime is local in nature, so it comes from among members of the public. And they are the same members of the public who will tell us where crime is, who committed this and that, and how we can handle it. I trained in the so-called crime analysis. When you are doing crime analysis, you deal with the people. You don't fail to deal with the people, because it's the people. It has come from the people. So a lot of information will come from the people. So we are trying to build friendships through so many forums. And we are making headways. Yeah.
Thank you so much for elaborating on that. And maybe one question that someone will ask you, maybe you just get to answer it when you come back. The department that you had as the chaplaincy, are you guys also having, because there's some issues, maybe family issues or what, do you just guys, are you just guys doing it for the police, assisting the mental wellness? Is it only for the police, or you're also extending it to help the commoners? Because we do not have like a specific people who will help the commoners. So you guys are police service. Or is just arresting when someone does something bad? Maybe you're going to get to answer that when we come after a very quick short break, which we are, of course, taking. Of course, stay with us at GBS TV Africa. This is GBS TV Africa. To the bond before is where you get to SMS us. And, of course, we are here with the Director of Chaplaincy. Thank you so much for joining us. And, of course, we're taking a very quick short break.
Hi guys, welcome to another amazing episode of the Youth Hub, the show that gets your groove on.
A cat meows. Ato ile shena madogi
Ita
meow.
What a man can do, a woman can do better.
Two types of men utapatana na wao.
mtu akileta gari, he's like, ni dem ndo anataka kunitengenezea gari? Hapana.
And what I'm earning. You know, it depends. Wewe kama mwanaume, you are the one marrying me, not me marrying you.
Many people will have this perspective of it's a feminine modeling. It's a two-way traffic. It's both for male and female.
A lady mechanic, I'm curious. Yes, let me see what she can do.
She has met the qualifications. She's competent. I have no problem with that. I have a problem with where you want to face out a competent person to fit in an incompetent person.
So through the four gospel books, Matthew, Mark, and Luke, John, we can know the heart of Jesus in depth.
그리고 우리가 느끼는 그 예수님을 성경을 통해 느낄 수 있어서 너무 감사합니다.
And the Jesus that we can feel him through the scriptures, and I'm very thankful about that. Jesus Christ came to this earth for our
죄를
sins.
지셨고
He carried our sins,
십자가에 못 박혀 주고 죄의 형벌을 당하셨고
and he was crucified, and he received the punishment for sins,
무덤에 들어가셨다가
and he was put into the tomb
사흘 만에 부활하셨습니다.
and resurrected in 3 days.
이것이 우리가 말하는 복음입니다.
This is the gospel that we speak.
예수님께 우리 죄를 위해 죽으신 이야기.
About how Jesus died for our sins. The purpose of Jesus being
우리
crucified.
죄를 담당하기 위하여 십자가에 못 박혀 죽으셨습니다.
He was crucified to pay for our
그래서
sins.
예수 십자가에 못 박혀 죽으심으로 우리 죄가 분명히 씻어졌는데
And through Jesus being crucified, clearly our sins have been washed clean.
참 안타깝게도 많은 사람은 여전히 죄인이라고 말합니다.
However, unfortunately, many people still say that they are sinners.
There are no limits to what you can and will become if you believe in your dream. You need to learn to choose your friends wisely. You need to match your energies. You need to learn to delegate. Personally, I am good in coordination, but somebody else is good in social media or communication. I will not be found suffering to do social media work. Why? Because somebody else will do that work much better than I. So that is what we've leveraged on, the strength and power in each other.
Everywhere, GBS.
Thank you so much and welcome back to the Inside. Of course, you're watching GBS TV and we are continuing this conversation on the police reforms through mindset. And of course, we have here Dr. Vincent, of course, who is here having a conversation with us. Thank you so much, Dr. Vincent. We continue the conversation and asked you a very critical question.
Yeah.
You guys, the police now, when talk about the chaplaincy, it's a reform, it's a police department. It's helping the police.
Yeah.
But is there anything else that maybe you guys are doing for the public? Because I don't think we have one by the government for Kenyans. Are you also helping maybe Kenyans?
We are doing quite a lot.
Okay.
We have counselors, professional counselors, who are trained just like any other counselor in the world. And we provide services that are provided for and to a human being. And so we do those counseling services even to members of public. Sometimes somebody is arrested, and when you look at this person, maybe he is arrested, he's been arrested because he's going through a lot of issues. So instead of you taking him to court straight, you just talk to him when you know that he requires some counseling. You refer him to a counselor before you make a decision of taking him to court. And you realize that this person, yes, you will take him to court, but you have your own recommendation as a police counselor that this person was arrested. Even though he was arrested doing this and that, This is my observation as a counselor, and this is that will be very helpful. Some of them, after arresting them in some petty crimes, you just listen to them and hear what they are doing, and you basically try to provide counseling, and you release them to go back home. There are those that are maybe a husband and a wife are fighting. We have marriage counselors. I'm a family therapist myself. So you talk to them. Just talk to them to understand what they should be doing as a family for their children in issues of parenting, and they will understand. So it will not be a big deal. So basically we do a lot.
Okay.
Actually, we have had even drunkards who are almost dying. And we have an addiction counselor in our department who is doing quite a lot even for the civilians. So basically what we are doing, we are providing services just like any other profession. Only that we are located and situated and deployed in the police. Basically, first and foremost, to handle police matters. But when any other matter comes across, we don't leave it.
Okay.
Because that's a human problem.
Sure. Thank you so much. But we also understand it's very important for partnerships generally. And I know that as you work and head as the director of chaplaincy, there could be maybe important partnerships that you guys have embraced to continue maybe with the mental wellness for the police and for the public, even as you say. So maybe they're very critical or important, maybe partnerships that you can talk of.
Yes, we have had partnerships. First and foremost, I want to talk about the nearest to me, IYF, very helpful. They have taken us through mind training. And personally, I've been taken for mind training, not just in Kenya. I went out to Korea, and we were different public servants from different departments of different governments across the world. And we were able to be trained about how our minds work will help us to be better or to be worse. And we realized that we can do anything. Anything good is possible to be done as long as you're able to think properly, to focus on the right thing, and to be resilient in what you are doing, and to also think good, think rightly. Basically, the training was good for us. So I can say that is part of the partnership, IYF, very helpful. And then we have had a partnership with the Chiromolen group of hospitals, that's under Dr. Njenga, and we have worked very well with him. He actually was the first one who trained our officers, our senior officers, like I told you. We have Life Bridge Hospital. It's working together with us very well. We also have CITAM Church and the Park University. We are working very well because for them it's about training and then about other matters on spiritual issues. And then we have had quite some partnerships that are very helpful. We have Green String Network, which is also working very well for us. They're training our counselors, taking them for clinicals, and helping us to widen the way how we can be able to handle other issues that relate to ourselves. Because, of course, as a counselor or a chaplain, sometimes you wear out. You overwork until you get too tired. So you need somebody who will talk to. Then you open up, and then he tells you what to do next. On leaving that place, you are better, you are energized, you are able to serve people. So basically, we have had good partnerships that are really helping us.
Thank you so much.
Even the Ministry of Health, I almost forgot, we have had a very good partnership with the Ministry of Health. The Ministry of Health, especially AIDS Control Unit, has been very good for us. And I really want to appreciate them because they have been very supportive.
Yes, we talk about something else critical, because even as we talk about mental wellness, and because it is a department that just began like 3 or 4 years ago. That is in 2020, as you've said. I believe we have had maybe good things that have happened, tremendous work that you've just mentioned when you talk about the KPIs. Of course, we talked about it. But I believe that we must be having challenges as well. Well, maybe what are some of the challenges that you're facing, even as the police service and even as the director, in trying to mitigate this problem that we have, and now trying to encourage mental wellness and holistic well-being of the police?
Among the challenges we are facing is we have an inadequate number of counselors and chaplains.
Okay.
When I talk about inadequate, I'm basically talking about the trained ones. Because if we want a counselor who is a street counselor, we can just get.
Okay.
But trained ones, we have very few. So we're looking forward to either train more or employ more, depending on how much the government is able to do that. That's one of the challenges, because we are overwhelmed by the numbers that we cancel at times. Some other challenges are like you want to really sensitize the public and sensitize the police officers at a go, but you may not have enough facility to help you reach them at a go. Yeah, for example, within a short time, it becomes a bit tricky. So it's a challenge too, because if we had, for example, a session like on GBS TV, a specific session on weekly basis, just talking to police officers, then we can ask them to watch us on this channel at this and this time, every day this day of a week or of a month. Then they will be able to benefit. Some other challenges are the very common ones, that the clinicals for counselors, we need to be doing them within periodically, like quarterly. We need to not to fail to do clinicals, because you are wearing and tearing the counselor, and then when he is too fatigued, he can become a patient. Yeah, so basically we need to be doing that within the required time.
Okay.
We have not been able to do that, of course, because of the common challenges that are financial sometimes, and a few other things that are some work exigencies. You have some other work apart from the counseling work, and so you are not able to do that within this period of time. And then, of course, the other challenge that we are still facing is the challenge of the facilities, having enough facilities like rehabilitation facility and treatment and rehabilitation facilities. We have had to rely on very few facilities, like Chiromo Lane Hospital. Then we have Lifebridge Hospital. Then these other hospitals are that doesn't have much. We have Madare Mental Hospital, but the other facilities are not good enough or big enough to accommodate police officers. So we have had to really centralize the services. To call officers from Lodwar, we bring them to Nairobi. Call them from Mombasa, we bring them to Nairobi. But I am hopeful that in the future, we will even build our own, because our boss has already assigned us to have to think about constructing our own facility, mental health facility, and we are in the process. Very soon, maybe, not so long from now, we will be having it. And of course, we will be having medics who will be able to handle that. Yeah.
Let me just ask you a question, even as we finalize. There's another question I want us to tackle critically.
Yes.
One of the major causes of mental issues has always been on finance and money. We understand that some police are actually living in some bad conditions, as it is. Some because of maybe the allowances, the payment or what. And this specifically, when talk about matters finance, is what even has prompted us having a lot of issues on bribes and corruptions. How is the government, or how is the department tackling this? Because even when it had the task force chaired by the CJ Emeritus Maraga, it was one of the critical issues that actually were raised. where are we, or generally, are we in any way solving this? Because when we solve this, there could be possibilities that we could solve a lot of other issues.
We have two problems. The problem is not how much you are given. It is how you use the much you are given. That is one. Second problem is the generational problems. The problem of the quick fix solutions to issues, financial issues or needs, which this young generation has gone into. You see somebody driving a Mercedes and you think he got that Mercedes in 2 days. So you decide not to concentrate on the priorities, but you look at the Mercedes, you find somebody has already bought a Mercedes. From where did you get the money? From a loan. A loan from which bank? This bank. How are you able to sustain this other need in the house, like a family you are supposed to feed, you are supposed to educate children? He cannot be able to answer. It is a matter of putting priorities right. When I was employed, then, those days, we were earning 1,900 shillings. And I have 3 children myself. Using that salary, the little salary, of course it was growing. I have educated my children through that. Yeah,
Okay.
and they are doing well. So it's about how you plan for your money. So we have started in our directorate issues of financial training on financial, the importance of financial accountability for your salary.
Okay, thank you. I want us to talk about something else, which touches on police, but is quite political.
Yeah.
Well, there is the deployment of 1,000 police officers to Haiti.
Yeah.
The president, times without number, and actually even yesterday, they were with the prime minister for Haiti. And the president pronouncedly made and said that actually he will support. They even signed a contract. But we know, as it stands, the court termed this deployment as unconstitutional.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know how you perceive this, the ruling, and generally how does it even impact on police officials' international engagement and commitment? And to some people who are asking, even the common people, common Kenyans, are asking, are police officers, Kenyan police officers, allowed to go work outside? Which law allows that, and so on and so forth? Please make us understand.
There are so many laws that will help you to work anywhere. You look at what you need, what the public needs. And sometimes as a police service, not at times, always, when you wake up, whether you are sleeping, wherever you are, we listen to what the commander-in-chief says. If he tells me today, go on the roof of this house, jump in the river, I will go and jump. That is because I hear and I listen to the orders of my commander-in-chief. So whatever the courts have said, they have not told me. So what I'm told by the commander-in-chief is what I'm going to do. So basically, the issues of the court and the police, you put the police outside that. Because I cannot stop serving because the court have said, I will listen to what my commander-in-chief has said. Yeah. So for us, we don't have 2 ears. When the commander-in-chief is speaking, we lock this other ear and listen with one ear, that he has spoken, and we will have to work, because he speaks within the law. He knows what is required. He knows what is important, what is good for us, and that's why we are ready to go. International missions are very important for the country. If people don't know that, they're very important for us.
We've had a lot of questions based on what you have said.
Yeah.
Permit me to ask you, because when you talk about the presidency or the commander-in-chief, the position is created constitutionally. Well, when he tells you, for example, jump into the river, and maybe it is not right, maybe according to the law, don't you think that maybe
Maybe you didn't understand what I said. When we talk about an order, you are in the civilian side, you may not understand. But for us who are trained, we are trained to follow the orders. Yeah.
Okay.
And there is no order. When sometimes people talk about unlawful orders, this and that, they are not able to define, to describe, to explain properly what unlawful order is. But I do not want to discuss so much what my commander-in-chief is doing.
Okay.
What I want to say is, what I'm saying about myself is very clear.
Okay.
Is that when he says go, I will go.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have to listen to something else.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Well, let us talk about some other reformations that have actually happened along in the police, and that is digital transformation, policing generally, whereby I think even recording of complaints has gone digitally.
Yeah.
Let's talk about digitalization generally in the police reform systems. There are a lot of things that actually are now being done online. What is the future of digital transformation in the police?
It's going to be very good because we are moving on with the digitization of our reports, our records, and many others. But there are those records that we will hold manually for our own reasons. You cannot, for example, put everything digital when you know this is something that can be stolen online. We are aware that hackers are always alert, but we also have experts who can protect our property. But basically, when you are talking about digitizing our information, we will digitize the basic information that people want to know, many other information. But there is some information that we will hold to ourselves manually, and because it is not information that everybody is supposed to access. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. And of course, wish you well even as you continue with your work.
Yeah.
But maybe you can share your final thought on everything that we have talked about, generally on chaplaincy, on police reforms, even through mindset, and maybe what you can talk to your people.
Very well. I want to first and foremost thank you for inviting me here and for making sure that we are able to discuss matters, psychosocial support for the police. I want to ask the public to support the police because we are actually part of them. And I want to ask my fellow police officers to seek services, psychosocial support services from any officer who is a qualified counselor or chaplain around there, and to ask them, please, we cannot end our lives just because of a small problem. And to ask them that if really we have to serve the public, we need to ensure that we are sober enough in order for us to serve the public. But above everything, we appreciate the service and even the government for supporting us, for really working together with us, and for giving us an ear whenever we need anything. And so we are so grateful for everything.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. And of course, also we thank you so much for staying with us. And as we conclude this compelling episode of The Insight, we extend, of course, our deepest gratitude to Dr. Vincent Makokha, Director of Chaplaincy, Counseling, Psychosocial Support at the Kenya Police Service. Of course, he has shared a profound insight on experiences with us, no exploration into the crucial role of chaplaincy counsel, the future of policing in Kenya, and the challenges and successes within the police force, has provided us with a deep understanding of the complexities and responsibilities that come with law enforcement. And thank you so much once again, Dr. Vincent. And of course, you're watching The Insight every Friday from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. We come to you with a deliberate conversation, a discourse meant and tailored for you on issues that pertinently and critically touch on your life. Today, we are talking about police reforms through mindset. On behalf of the team that has seen this as a success, I wish you a very good night. My name is Eugene Ochieng Kwach, and this is GBS TV.
Everywhere, GBS.